Sex abuse scandal at Northern California women's prison spurs lawsuit versus feds. And this is a mega win, you guys. It's really crappy to see how many victims and survivors come out of this situation. But, you know, I think I've told most of you before that I was kind of a troublemaker when I was younger. And I hung out with people that happened to do some prison time and had some firsthand experience and accounts of prison. And women's prisons have always been known to be like very sexual focused, whether it's the prison guards expecting something from the prisoners or the prisoners trying to get something from the prison guards. Like, it is very different in that situation from a men's prison, okay? Now, this one was supposedly the worst of the worst of the worst. It was so bad that it had its own name. All the prisoners and workers at the all-women's facility had dubbed FCI Dublin the RAPE Club. That's what they called it. And women did
that prison was called that.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. And women would do everything in their power not to go to this prison because they knew that they were going to be taken advantage of.
By prison guards?
Yes. So, I guess I'll read through both this. This is a statement that was made. The Federal Bureau of Prisons, BOP, has been aware of these problems for decades and has failed and continues to fail to take action to protect those in its care by preventing and addressing rampant staff sexual misconduct.
That's disgusting.
I agree. It goes on to say, in recent years, staff sexual abuse at FCI Dublin has been so severe that the facility became the center of a sprawling criminal investigation, multiple congressional inquiries, and national media attention. Now, even the prisons... Who leads the prison? What's the name? The warden.
Yes.
The prison's warden got arrested and charged. Like, all these people are looking at serious charges. I believe there's 8 of them, 8 employees, including the warden. And the warden got charged and arrested last year for forcing women during cell searches and things like that to pose naked in their cells against their will.
Wow.
That's like jaw drop. That is disgusting. And to think, like, I don't care if it's a woman or a man. That's not important to me. They're already in prisons having to live that hard life because they made mistakes or they chose to do something the wrong way, and now they need to be held accountable. And being held accountable doesn't have anything to do with any sexual type topic in any way, whether it's posing, whether it's touching. Like, that should never happen. And I personally feel like anybody that was a victim of this should, unless they're a serial ender, whatever, like some major violent criminal that just had repeated offenses. Yes, they should be compensated, or their sentence gone, period, done.
If they're not a violent offender, absolutely. Punishment doesn't mean abusing people. Like, especially if these are people who are going to come back out in our society. Do we really want to be sending people to prison and traumatizing them and giving them worse mental health than they had before, which their mental health is what probably made them commit the crime that they committed, and then we're putting them in there and making it worse, and then they're coming out, and then
they're going to be even worse because they're coming out more traumatized than when they went in, and it's just that endless cycle. You know, prisons are supposed to be there to rehabilitate people, and when horrible things like this are going on, they're going to come out more traumatized than rehabilitated.
There is no rehabilitation in this country. There isn't any, except for when you go to, like, a halfway house.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have some programs where we're working towards that direction, but the federal prisons or a prison like this, yes, I don't think there is any rehabilitation into a somewhat normal lifestyle of being part of society, like general public, you know.
This is just disgusting.
And what's crazy too is so they've known they'd had these problems. In 1995, there were 3 women that were seriously assaulted, okay, that filed a lawsuit against this prison, and they won. All 3 of them won, like, huge amounts of money in this lawsuit, and they just continued these things. I don't know how they get away with it. Like, I don't understand. If you already knew there was a problem, you already had history of problems, and those problems just continued. Like, how did this go on so long?
Dude,
why is this still continuing?
It has to be deep corruption.
Well, the warden.
Deep corruption.
The warden.
I know, but even external government could hold the warden accountable.
Yeah, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, now they did.
Yeah. I mean, last year, I'm not going to criticize the federal government in this situation. The federal government's the one who went in.
I think it's the state governments that should have held him accountable.
Well, it says the feds were the ones who
Finally.
started. Yeah, so I'm going to give a high five to the feds for doing that. And I think even if it was delayed, at least they got attention. The fault isn't people on the outside. The fault is the prison system, the warden, and everyone under them. Prisons are supposed to be able to function on their own with just a warden, with no outside accountability or control. So I don't see it as being anyone's fault on the outside. It is 100% inside. If I was over this prison, like if I was the owner, financial owner of this prison, I would literally turn over the entire staff just to start fresh.
Absolutely, but if it was known this was happening for that many years and nobody did anything, that's a problem.
You're assuming that these other entities, law enforcement entities, knew what was going on.
You said they won a lawsuit in 1995.
Yes, they did. That doesn't mean that outside entities that don't have anything to do with this prison were alerted of these things. So, you're assuming that they know that's what's going on when they don't have any connection to this. So I don't think that's fair to hold someone accountable like that. Okay. This was all inside, and I think we did the right thing taking care of this.
Well, yeah.
And I just hope that it gets changed.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad it finally was taken care of, and I hope it puts forth some kind of policies, some kind of way to prevent this from happening in other prisons.
Well, they shouldn't be privately owned.
Agreed.
Gosh.
They should not be.
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.